Hello all my beautiful sisters from those other misters. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you guys about 5 basic bitch palettes that I've been loving recently. Now this was sparked by the purchase of a new palette. It's this, the Natasha Denona Glam palette, Glam face palette, which is covered in my fingerprints, but you get that with packaging like this. So this is what I'm wearing today, and this has kind of been my go-to makeup look for quite a while now. Usually when I sit down and film a video, I'm wearing something a bit more dramatic, but this is what I like to wear on a daily basis. I do call this basic bitch makeup because it's very simple. It's designed to just enhance what you have. We're not trying to like change anything dramatically. It's not overly colorful. It's, you know, office friendly, although a lot of offices these days you can go in with bright colorful makeup. They don't really care. But this palette actually made me think a lot about the types of palettes that I've been loving recently, and it also showed me that they all have something in common, and that is that they are basic. So I'm going to swatch this one for you and the other ones that I have, although some of them might take a long time. This one's nice and easy. What I love about this palette is it is so simple, and it kind of just takes all of the work out of thinking about your makeup for you. It has 5 eyeshadows. You've got 3 mattes and like 2 metallic shimmery shades, which are beautiful. I particularly like the mattes because they cover all of the bases. You've got a light tone, a mid-tone, and a deeper tone, but the deep tone is not like too dark that it's difficult to work with. You can easily just put on a little bit, or you can build it up for something that's a bit more vampy, maybe like a night ready look. The metallics are super flattering, very light reflective, which I think it helps to like make the eyes pop. And if you have small eyes like I do, here's something funny. A lot of people, when they see me do my makeup on camera, or they see me sit here in videos, they're like, you don't have small eyes. However, I do have small eyes. I'm a makeup artist by trade. I know my face. And I've been doing photo shoots with Madeline for quite some time now, and she does my makeup when we're doing those photo shoots. And she said to me a few times, you never look like you have small eyes, but it's not until I'm doing your makeup that I realize how small they are. So I particularly like to use mattes and metallic, like high reflective shimmer shades in a certain way to make my eyes not appear as small as they are. So that's a kind of formula I really like. For me, the eyeshadows in this palette are just like a perfect combination of really simple, flattering shades and finishes to create a really nice, quick eye look. When it comes to the blush and the highlight in the palette, I would say, and I said this in my purchases video, that this would be an absolutely perfect palette for me if it had a bronzer in there as well. I can understand why maybe they would leave a bronzer out, but I think it would have been better with a bronzer. The blush is like a firm cream to powder, and the highlight, listen, this highlight does not look like much when you swatch it, but I swear when it goes on your skin, it is intense and it is super light reflecting. It doesn't even look like it there, but once it's sitting over like the curves of your cheekbones, oof, the way it picks up light is outstanding. It's really punchy. So this palette has been absolutely gorgeous. I know it also comes in a darker format as well. Not gonna lie, kind of want it. Not really sure that the blush and highlight shades would work for me though, so I don't know, maybe I'll see if I can find that one in store and swatch it before before I drop the money on it. This has kind of been the palette that I have just wanted to reach for ever since I got it in my hot little hands. I am trying to also test out some of my single eyeshadows to sort of, you know, get an idea for how I feel about them, whittle them down, not have 5 million of them floating around in palettes, but I don't even want to touch them because I just want to use this at the moment. Let's continue on with the Natasha Denona, because she does have another palette that I personally own, and the longer I've owned it, the more I have learned to appreciate it for what it is. Although it was not my favorite when I first got my hands on it. It is the Natasha Denona Bronze palette. Now, this palette, look, I was kind of hoping that it would be similar to the Glam face palette in terms of the eyeshadow formula, where the mattes are quite versatile. You can apply them quite softly and build them up if you want something more intense, whereas this particular palette, especially with the mattes, it's kind of like 0 to 100 as soon as you put it on. It's like a nude or a bronze palette for when you want to go clubbing. So when you want a really punchy, intense nude look, this is what I reach for. And initially when I used this palette, I kind of didn't like it because I wanted something that was a bit more versatile and what I would consider user friendly and like all experiences friendly. I mean, you can see like these are intensely pigmented eyeshadows. However, because I have been gravitating so much towards these types of colors, I have found that recently there are days when I want my eyeshadow to be richer and more vibrant and more intense, and there is a place in my life for a palette that just sort of does nude and bronzy looks that are like on steroids essentially, and that's where this palette comes in. I would also say that the like the shimmery and high shine type finish shades in this palette allow a lot more diversity. It is something that I like to pair with other nude palettes, especially if I'm getting a little bit tired of a sparkly shade in one of my other nudes and I just kind of want to mix things up a little bit. I think if you are a nude eyeshadow lover, this is probably one that you have to have in your arsenal because it just brings something different to the table. I think a lot of the time, for me specifically, I associate nude eyeshadows with being very soft and light and, you know, easy to work with, very quick. Pop them on and out the door you go, essentially. But this palette, it brings more to the table, and the more that it brings is like vibrancy, richness, punchiness. It's kind of like I would consider it an unforgiving bronze palette. So if you are a nude, bronze, neutral eyeshadow lover, I would say that this is one to consider having in your arsenal if you don't already, because it just, you can elevate a look with it. You can go a bit more, you know, a bit more glamorous, a bit more intense, a bit more punchy, rather than being muted, more like what I'm wearing today. The next palette that is an absolute fave of mine is this guy from Too Faced. This is the Born This Way Natural Nudes palette. So this is a complexion inspired eyeshadow palette, which means that it's taking colors from what you would naturally find on like a person's skin tone. What I particularly love about this palette is you don't have things taking up excess amount of space. It is very, very compact and slim. I love that. There is still a mirror in there without it needing to be bulky and huge. And each color has like a corresponding texture, which I absolutely love. I also like that the mattes are the larger pans and the shimmers are the smaller pans. Typically you would use more of a matte shade in an eye look than you would a shimmer shade. The consistency of these eyeshadows is also really nice. You've got, you know, shimmery metallics that are nice and light reflecting, and the mattes are buttery smooth, which I adore. Although this is a very nude palette, I find it to actually be quite diverse because you've got, you know, the gradation between light and dark, you've got the different textures. In the center area, you also get to play with a little bit of color. You're sure they're the more like neutral nudie colors, but you've got like pinks and mauves, and there's these pretty like sort of camely caramel shades, which are really nice and can be really complementary on a lot of skin types. I really love this. They also brought out a new one, the Sunset Stripped palette, and you should bet your ass I bought it. I really like these palettes. I actually do like Too Faced's formula as well. I think for quite some time there, I did get very bored of what they were releasing. And then, of course, they released the most boring palette they possibly could. And for me, it just struck a chord. And I was like, I'm in love with it. Give it to me right now. So I love this palette. It's a staple in my collection for sure. Next up is a classic. It's an oldie but a goodie, and I love it, and it's still on the market. You can still get it. It is Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam. So this is definitely one of those palettes that I would very happily run out and buy again if I lost my whole collection. I did do a video about that, and to be fair, pretty much any of the palettes that I've spoken about so far would be on that list. They wouldn't be too difficult for me to get my hands on, and this is easily one of those palettes that I just find to be just so easy to wear, just suits what I like to wear on a daily basis, and I don't feel any like stress when I'm wearing a palette like this, because it's, for me, it's just like pick any colors, put them on, they're going to look beautiful. I would say that this palette would be a good option for people who prefer mattes over sparkly or shimmery shades, or if you prefer a more like, you know, a satin finish when it comes to the more sparkly shades. This one only contains, I think there's 2 satins and 2 kind of shimmery-ish shades. The rest mattes. Actually, I take that back. That one is also a satin shade. I guess there's 3 satins, and this one and the following one are the more like sparkly or like higher light reflect shades in the palette, although they are quite subtle in terms of some of the others that we've seen swatched from Too Faced and Natasha Denona. This palette is definitely better for those who enjoy a bit more diversity with their darker shades as well. You can see there are a lot more dark shades in this palette. There is a black too, so if you love a black eyeshadow, this one has it. I particularly love this shade here, which is called Mulberry, and that's exactly what it is. It's like a rich red mulberry matte shade. I really enjoy that. You guys know I love red shades. I would personally say that that's not on the nude spectrum, but for me, those sort of colors fit into what I like to wear. Same when you come up to these sort of mauvey grayish tone shades. I like that as well. I feel like this palette, again, it's just in that family of colors and textures that I find really easy to wear. They're very complementary to like everyday eye looks. If you want to jazz it up, you can add a wing liner, maybe some lashes. Can like highlight your inner corner, whatever you want to do. Or if you want to really tone it down, you can just choose like 1 or 2 shades, pop it over your eyes, little bit of mascara on, and off you go. Okay, my last palette is for those who are into minimalism. They like things small. Maybe you're on a budget. Maybe you aren't really all that into nudes, but you want to explore them a little bit, and you want somewhere small to start. This guy from Colourpop. This is the cream soda pressed pigment quad or palette. I don't know. Do they call it a palette? It's a quad if you ask me. For me, a palette is 6 shades or more, but whatever. What I really love about this is the simplicity of it, the formula, and the composition of the shades. You've got 4 shades. There's 2 mattes. There's 2 sparkly shimmery shades, which are really nice. The consistency of the eyeshadows is very surprising. Look, Colourpop can be hit and miss. You guys probably know. You probably all tried them at some stage. Sometimes they don't pack a lot of punch with their pigmentation. This little palette it's punchy, and I really enjoy it. And again, the formula of the matte eyeshadows gives you the ability to, you know, layer them up and get them a bit deeper, or just do a super quick wash of color and it's done. It looks beautiful, it blends easily, and it creates a really nice look in a short amount of time if that's what you're going for. This little quad has been in my everyday makeup drawer, I think pretty much all year, maybe even since sometime last year, and I still reach for it. It is so small, it's so compact, it doesn't take up any room. Not like these guys where if I have like 5 palettes of this size in my everyday makeup drawer, shit gets hectic. Whereas something like this, it's so small, it's so compact, I can have 5 just like this in the drawer and they're always organized, always easy to search through and find what I'm looking for, and I really, really enjoy the simplicity of the look that they create. So that's it, guys. 5 of my everyday basic bitch palettes that I absolutely love. If you are a basic bitch like me, let me know what your favorites are. I definitely like to know if some of mine are on your list or if you have others that you just love and adore. And if you're a color lover, maybe I'll do a version of this video for my color lovers. Do you want to see that? Let me know. I have to go dig deep in my stash because a lot of my palettes are mostly colorful. How would I pick just 5? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I can manage that. But I hope you enjoyed it, guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.